in time.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And I'm Muska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central Quick Start Guides. Very quick, very concise guides going over hero strengths and weaknesses, as well as when to play them and what they work well against. Today we are going over Zarya.
Zarya is an extremely versatile tank and very different from the other tanks in Overwatch. She wields the particle cannon. Its primary fire shoots an energy beam, effective at short range. The secondary fire lobs an explosive charge that can be used to hit enemies on short to long range. Zarya's first ability is the particle barrier, which shields Zarya for a short amount of time and absorbs a medium amount of damage. The second ability is basically the same, but projects a barrier on an allied hero instead. The more damage that shield absorbs, the more powerful your weapon becomes. Your charge is displayed on screen and can go from 0 to 100 charge. Zarya's ultimate ability is Graviton Surge. When activated, your weapon spits out a black hole-like orb that sucks in nearby enemies for a short duration and also deals a tiny bit of damage.
So why should you play as Zarya? Well, Zarya's damage output for a tank is incredible. She's extremely versatile and works well in most lineups. She can protect specific friendly heroes that may be coming under a lot of damage with her shields, as well as benefit from this instantly with the form of getting weapon charge from it. Her ultimate Graviton Surge is almost always a game changer and can be comboed with the majority of ultimates in Overwatch. And if Zarya can stay alive for a long period of time, she can even start to snowball due to always having high weapon charge when a fight breaks out, making sure that her damage output is optimal and effective. Her health is easy to keep on top of since half of the 400 HP that you have is made up of shield. This means that it regenerates itself after a few seconds of not taking any damage.
But like all heroes, Zarya too has weaknesses. She can't block as much damage as other tanks and her survivability is generally poor, so if you don't kill your enemies fast, you might not get out of the fight alive. Zarya's ability to protect more than one person at once is basically non-existent due to only being able to shield herself and a teammate on a medium cooldown. The shields don't stay up for long either, so timing can be tricky. This, along with her 400 HP pool, which is relatively small for a tank, leaves her very exposed after she's used her self-shield. You are forced to dip in and out of fights, but don't have any mobility abilities to help you do this efficiently.
So what hero should you be aiming to attack when you're playing Zarya? Well, we've already spoken about how versatile Zarya already is, and she has the edge over quite a few heroes. Genji can't deflect your primary fire and will have to retreat in most situations, leaving you with a bit of weapon charge from his attacks. In a similar vein, D.Va can't absorb the particle beam, making it effective against her as well. It's also easier to keep your beam on her since she's a bigger target, and with a lot of weapon charge you can melt through her quickly. McCree can flashbang as Zarya, but it's sort of countered by Zarya's self-shield, which also protects her from the flashbang Thunderhammer combo. Symmetra sentries and teleporters can be taken down effectively at range due to Zarya's secondary fire with splash damage. Also, self-shielding when you're taking a ton of damage from sentries is a good way to start to get charge as well as clear out those turrets. Similarly, Tobbing can be countered by tanking the turret damage with your self-shield and lobbing the same secondary fire explosive charges at that. Mei is another hero you have a little bit of an edge over since the freeze is currently blocked by Zarya's shields, and you can tear through the 150 HP of Zenyatta quickly. Zarya can also remove Zenyatta's Discord Orb from herself and allies by shielding them too. Zarya is also good to help get heroes like Widowmaker killed by harassing them with the secondary fire, as well as shielding heroes like Pharah so they can have enough time to take Widow out. Shield saves are very important when it comes to playing Zarya, so you want to be aiming for heroes that are being chased by Winston, maybe getting charged by Reinhardt, or hooked by a Roadhog.
It's actually quite difficult to list any hard counters to Zarya, it's more of a playstyle change. However, Reaper has just a bit too much damage and sustain most of the time. Zarya might dedicate a lot of time to trying to kill a Reaper, only to have him wraith form away as a result of Zarya not being able to kill him fast enough. Pharah is also a tricky one. Zarya's effective range is too short to deal with her, so you need someone else to do it. As a general tip to countering Zarya, you should be watching out for the shields so you know when they are on cooldown. This is key to killing Zarya. Without the shields, she is relatively weak and that's the time for the enemy to strike. Remember, if you get her killed, her weapon charge resets back to 0 and she'll be easier to kill the next time you see her.
So when should you play as Zarya? Well, she pretty much works well in all game modes as an off-tank. She does need to be paired with a main tank node that can protect the team, such as a Reinhardt. The reason for this is Zarya needs healing and she can't really keep her supports alive if she hasn't got her shields handy. So having a bigger, much tankier tank available to protect the rest of the team helps her out in the long run. It's also worth adding that Zarya is an extremely strong pick on control. She's good at holding and taking an objective as well as taking the enemy's damage and using it to her advantage.
Timing is everything for your shields. They're up for a very short amount of time, so make sure to save them to use during a fight rather than before. It feels like a natural habit to use your shields preemptively, but you won't be getting as much charge from your ability as you would be protecting yourself or a teammate mid-fight. As for who you should be putting your shields on, well, you want to be looking out for your supports or low health heroes if they are getting bombarded by the enemy team. Try to put yourself in your enemy's shoes and figure out which targets they are prioritizing on your team. Make sure to also be more reserved with using your self shield, as it is your only defensive ability, something that's very important for a tank to have handy when needed. Zarya is all about decisions, who to shield, when to use the ultimate, and also what weapon mode she should be using. We've gone over her primary fire and secondary fire, but it's important to know which one should be used when. With a high amount of charge, her primary fire melts through anything. It's great for quick hitters that can easily dodge out of the way of your secondary fire. It's also great for melting through tanks, as over time you can just hold down your button and aim at the tank rather than hope that all your secondary fire charges will hit them. But you want to be using these explosive charges on your secondary fire to reach heroes you may not be able to see up high. They might be behind a corner or over a ledge. It's also great for bunched up enemies on an area, as the splash damage will do a good amount of damage to each hero nearby. As Zarya, it's your job to coordinate ultimates, so take a leader role in your team. Showing your team your ultimate status by using the ping wheel is always handy, but nothing beats voice comms. Take on the responsibility of coordinating pushes even in public matches with randoms. It's how you find success with Zarya, rather than disappointment when you used your graviton surge and nobody was around to follow up.
And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. We are getting very close to the launch of the game now. I think we're about 2/3 of the way through the guides. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the last third of them. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. And until next time, take care and we will see you then.